All right, we'd like to welcome you to another episode of the walkthrough as the season gets into the later stages.
Week 9. Where does the time go?
Pretty soon we're going to be at the playoff versions of the walkthrough, which we have something special planned for that. Can't tell you yet, but
I don't know what it is either, so we'll all find out together.
Have to keep Kyle on his toes. But we'll come back after this commercial break to talk about some football, not playoffs, but we'll talk about
getting
playoffs.
into it a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit into it. Give out game balls.
Playoffs? You kidding me?
A Player of the Week award, and talk about region standings and all that good stuff right after this commercial break.
Keep your family comfortable all year long and save money on your utility bills with a preferred client service program from Holly Heating and Air. Holly's service program includes priority service, no overtime charges, 15% off all repairs, plus a regular duct system inspection. And should you suddenly need us, we're here for you with emergency service 24/7, 365 days a year. So turn to the experts, Carrier, and the comfort pros at Holly Heating and Air. A name you know, a name you trust.
And we're back here at Aiken County's most famous chalkboard, or so I think.
It's the spookiest one, I'll say that much.
Definitely. Here to give out some game balls for this week's action, and obviously a lot of big performances in crucial games as
they're getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, the postseason's right around the corner, and to start off, it's two people who've been on the board kind of together almost every time they've been on the board, I think.
Yeah, it's been a combo deal for sure.
But over at North Augusta, we're going to give one to Tanner White, quarterback over there at North Augusta. Passed for 209 yards, ran for 139, led a comeback, and had a hand in all five touchdowns for his team. So that was a big victory for them and creating chaos in the region. And also on the defensive side, there we have Kari Collier once again with 17 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, and a fumble recovery.
Only thing we were missing was a touchdown run.
Exactly. He's got a lot of turnovers this year too now.
He does.
Thinking about it.
He does. An early defensive player of the year candidate, to say the least. So obviously that's a big win for North Augusta to make things, like you said, a little crazy in that region. I'm going to take it over to Region 3A, where Wagner-Salley picked up a win that really just kind of evened things out to just say, hey, this is our region, we're in the driver's seat now. No craziness over here. We'll start with Quintez Barnes. He goes 17 carries for 191 yards and a touchdown, and this is an 8-0 game for a while. He breaks one for 89 yards to put that thing really... just to start to put it away. They force the turnover right after that, get another touchdown. But big run there to really give them some separation, and there was some help coming on the defensive side of the ball. A usual suspect here, Weston Williams. He another big game from him. 15 tackles, 3 tackles for loss. It was a Wagner-Salley defensive effort that they played strong against a strong physical Rich Spring Meadow offensive line and our area's second leading rusher in Collier Sullivan. Wagner-Salley really showed up defensively, and that included Jeremiah Bynum. We'll get him down here in the corner. 14 tackles from him, 3 tackles for loss. Huge game defensively for a team that, time and time again, they step it up on that side of the ball.
Definitely. And, we have some more defensive players.
It was a good week for it.
It was. And we're going to give one to Robert West, who had a strong game, 10 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. And Strom-Thurman's a big region win for them. And that defense has been looking better and better as time is going on.
It's a good time of year for that, too.
When you talk about the Strom-Thurman offense on the other side of the ball, they're going to run the ball. And we're going to give a game ball to Jaheim Mathis, who graded out at over 80%. And you could tell that Strom-Thurman really pounded the ball over and over again, more than 50 carries between all the backs and quarterbacks, so they were able to get it done on the ground in that game, and he was a big part of it.
Yeah, huge region win, and got to give some credit to one of the guys up front for it. Speaking of, why don't we go with an entire unit up front? We're going to go with the Williston-Elko offensive line. A chance for Williston-Elko play that consistent ball game that they're looking for. They end up, paving the way for 309 rush yards and 6 touchdowns. And we're talking a point where you're getting JV guys in there and really just preparing a lot of the future playmakers of Williston Elko. But, big game for that offensive line, and a major positive because they got a physical test coming up with Blackville Hilda.
Definitely do. And to round things out, another guy who's getting up on the board a lot over at Aiken High, Jarvis Jones.
On the scoreboard a lot, too.
On the scoreboard a lot. Had himself a big game, got into the end zone 3 times, had 7 receptions for 152 yards. So he's just... It's business as usual for him at this point.
A guy who keeps finding a way to get behind the defense. Yes. At some point, you put somebody at the goal line to wait for him, maybe. And another guy who we're seeing, his name pop up, and he seems like he's picking up some steam here. Travis Butler at South Aiken. It's been several weeks in a row now where we're seeing that. This could be a guy for them that, obviously they've got some balance there in the run game, but this is a guy who can maybe, handle the physical load there and be able to run through some guys the way that they've had some success in years past. 154 yards for him and a touchdown on 16 carries against North Augusta, and he's just going to keep rolling.
Gotcha, and we're going to be right back to hand out the Chick-fil-A Player of the Week award to one of these players. Obviously, lots of deserving candidates, so we'll be right.
Hey, we'll see how you voted.
Yeah, we'll be right back after this break to hand that out.
I always ask myself, would I want me to represent me? Would I want a lawyer who is prepared, who is passionate, who is capable? And every day that we represent our clients, we're telling our clients that you can count on us to bring every skill, every ability, and all of our passion in representing your interests. That's what it means to count on Chandler. That means that you can count on us to fight for you.
And we're back, and we'd like to start by congratulating Jarvis Jones for his performance this week and winning our Chick-fil-A Player of the Week award. Big game for him receiving, as always, in a game against Airport, and so congratulations to him.
That one family night in Dumfries, Virginia. Family night is for everybody. It's a time for families to do crafts together.
The kids just love going to Chick-fil-A for dinner. Being the single mom and getting everybody ready, it was tough. We would get there a little bit late, like on the tail end of it. Helen saw that I was having trouble getting them to Chick-fil-A for the family night on time and actually got it extended another hour. Noticing things like that, I never really told her how much she affected me, but she did.
Love you.
All right, and we're back for something different this time. We're going to go rapid fire through the poll.
The run through, as it were.
Yeah, we're going to run through the media poll section of the show this week, and hopefully this time I will get it right. Wagner Sally coming in at number 2 in Class A poll this week, and Rich Spring Minetta falling a couple spots down to number 10, tied with Branchville after their matchup this week out there. And Barnwell's once again number 2.
Still right there, still behind unanimous number 1 Abbeville.
Exactly. No surprise there.
Copy and paste. Here we are.
Strom's continuing its upward trend in the recent weeks after being at 7 for seemingly forever.
7 to 6, and now here we are at number 5.
Number 5, and also back receiving votes in Class 4A's North Augusta. So obviously they've shown a lot of good things going in the past few weeks. Obviously with some region wins that got them some respect from the voters. Yeah. And now that we've done that, on to the games.
The run-through is complete.
Yes.
We needed a run-through, though, because we have so many games this week.
We do. We have a lot to talk about, and we're going to start.
10 games.
Yes, and we're going to start with where our game of the week is, however, in a competitive, to say the least, Region 5 Class 4A, where there's a lot of big games and a lot to be decided with several teams tied at the top, looking to kind of secure the top 2 seeds and get some favorable matchups and home field in the playoffs.
I talked with Chris Hamilton earlier, and he joked with me a little bit, and he said that, because we're in a 4-way tie right now, 4 teams at the top at 2 and 1. And he said that he would put that region up with anybody in the lower state. He thinks those are all really good teams, and he joked with me. He said, or none of us are any good, and we just haven't found it out yet.
It's one or the other, but based on some of the performances, I think they're
I think we've got
good.
we've got some good ones. Yeah.
So starting out there with our game of the week, Aiken is taking on Brooklyn Casey in a big one. Obviously, Aiken had a tough loss to Airport where they had the lead, lost a late one there in tough fashion. But
they've bounced back from that before.
They have, and picked up a big win, and a win here would kind of shake things up once again in the region standings. Obviously, one of those teams that's tied for the top would have to go down for that to happen. So then Aiken would be right in the mix of things to get one of those favorable seeds we talked about.
And they could be doing, a lot of help for, say, North Augusta / South Aiken / Airport, because all of them, of course, they're going to take care of their own business. But Brooklyn Casey loss isn't going to upset them in the slightest.
Yeah, they won't be hurt by that. But in this one, obviously, Aiken's going to have to contend with another big offensive a team that likes to go out and put up a lot of points, put up a lot of yardage. And Aiken has seen this time and time again.
Yeah, once or twice.
So they'll have to come out and match that. But on the flip side of that, obviously, as we've seen throughout the year, Aiken has an offense of its own.
Aiken can big play it with anybody.
They certainly can. I would argue that's one of their better things that they do, hit the big play, and kind of in this one, it kind of they're going to need it depending on what that defense can do in stopping the run and kind of some of the things we've seen them do before. Obviously, some improvements in that, and they're going to have to be strong, even stronger this week against the Brooklyn Casey team.
BC is just so quick in what they do offensively. The ball doesn't stay in the quarterback's hands for long. Got playmakers everywhere. It's one of those where you look at it and it's like, it's not just that standard response of, well, if we send a lot of heat at him, then he won't have time, because, the ball's out already.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see what Aiken can do in that one. And elsewhere in the region, we have South Aiken trying to bounce back from a kind of a tough loss of their own where they let North Augusta come back, taking on an Airport team that's coming in with the momentum from coming back and beating Aiken. So that one should pose some interesting matchups also for South Aiken.
Well, for South Aiken, it's getting back to doing things the way that they do things. When I talked with Coach Hamilton, he said, they got that lead and then they kind of started playing not to lose. And that's not the style that they've played since he's been there. So it's, just getting back to normal for them. Basically, he said that they don't want to let that North Augusta loss turn into 2 losses for them.
Definitely understandable there. Obviously, we saw it. South Aiken's defense has been strong throughout the season. So
they got put in some bad spots later on when maybe it was a little on the conservative side. Again, the playing not to lose type deal. And obviously now, the way that all these teams are playing is you got 2 games to go. You take care of business. You at this point what they're saying at South Aiken is what we can control is what we do against Airport and then what we do against Midland Valley. They can't control any of that other stuff, and there's a lot that's going to happen over the next 2 weeks.
There is a lot, and in another one of the area games, Midland Valley with a chance to kind of shake things up themselves if they're
the ultimate spoiler.
Yeah, if they're able to pull off an upset in this week or even next week. But this week they have North Augusta, and Jenkins said they know they have a tall task in front of them. Obviously, he said they have one of the toughest front sevens, but Midland Valley has gotten some things going in the run game, and Jenkins actually told me that Pearson was kind of one of the best backs he's ever coached, and he's really coming alive and is athletic, and he just said they're going to have to take whatever gap they can get with that smothering defense.
Yeah, and he's good at finding them if they're available. North Augusta doesn't leave a whole lot of those open. So
that's true.
We'll see what happens, but that's a rivalry that the kids get up for. That's one that North Augusta's had the upper hand in, for so long. Yeah. And, it goes without saying how much that would mean to Midland Valley to pull off the win there. And, if you're over at North Augusta, I think the attitude is, these guys don't beat us.
Yeah. So obviously a lot to look forward to there. Some interesting matchups, very familiar teams.
For sure.
And down at the 3A level, Strom Thurmond coming off a big win, and they can
wrap it up here.
Wrap it up here and get themselves a #1 seed, win the region in their game against Pillion. And I'd have to say I like Strom Thurmond's chances of winning the region.
I like Thurmond's chances too, and the only reason I guess we can't say that it's already been clinched is that, well, Pelion only has one loss in region play.
That is true. That is true.
So you take care of business in that game. And it's an undefeated run through region with a win there.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously with Strom having the bye the final week of the season.
Yeah, how about that? Like 10 straight games.
A lot of rest that they will have going into the playoffs, because they also do not have a matchup in the extra week. So
well, right, and they avoided some of those weather issues. They were one of the ones that elected to move the game up when they played Midland Valley. And so there's no makeup, there's no nothing.
It's just
off time. It's off time, and that off time's a lot more pleasant when you're doing it as the region champions.
Definitely. Elsewhere, we're down in Region 2A. We won't have anyone from the area winning the region championship. However, there's a lot still to be decided.
6-team region with 5 playoff spots.
Five playoff spots, and Silver Bluff looking to get one of those. They have a game this week against 96, who is coming in hot, like a lot of those teams in that region. 96 still has a lot to play for and going after the region title, so they certainly won't be looking to slip up here. And Silver Bluff will just be trying to trip them up and get a grasp on that final playoff spot going into the final week.
That's an undefeated 96 that is on a collision course with an undefeated Abbeville in the season finale there. I know at 96 they're not talking about potential trap game kind of thing, but if they're looking forward in the slightest, Silver Bluff's tough.
Yeah, they could have some issues with that, but in this one, Silver Bluff has done some good things defensively, I should say, but 96 comes in with a great quarterback.
Yeah, Kentavious Williams is a different animal, and that offensive line is good.
Yes, but even in the loss, though, last week, obviously Silver Bluff showed some good signs and improvement on some of the things that they slipped up on before.
They had Abbeville talking about things that Abbeville has to clean up, and that's not a conversation that Abbeville has.
It was not the 50-point blowout that Abbeville had become used to early on in region play. So they'll look to continue some of that, and hopefully that will lead to them slowing that 96 offense, because we do know that 96 also can give up some points.
That is true.
Very true. And so going into that one, they'll be looking to do that. Elsewhere in that same region, Fox Creek kind of also looking for a win to get into good position going into the final week, where eventually Fox Creek and Silver Bluff will decide who gets that final spot.
Right.
You want to go in with a good chance and some positive momentum, and Fox Creek is really looking for some of that after kind of
They've been through the gauntlet here.
Yes, they have. They've gone through all of the toughest teams in the region, and haven't gotten the result they've been looking for yet, but looking to turn that around and do some good things in this one.
Yeah, and as Derek Quinn told me, despite all of these tough results they've had lately, they've stuck together. They're still coming out and putting together. The past 2 days have been good days of practice, and he's confident. It's going to be, a physical, competitive game with Batesburg-Leesville, and I think we talk about it anytime Batesburg-Leesville comes up. You talk about containing an athletic quarterback and an athletic running back.
That's new.
You change the names, but it's still the same out there at Batesburg-Leesville. And with Fox Creek, this is, they're in the same boat with Silver Bluff. Both of them 0-3 in region play, and you don't want to be the 0-4 team, hoping that you get that last week win. You want to go into that one, feeling a little better.
Definitely, you certainly do. And elsewhere in 2A, we spoke earlier about not looking ahead or any of that stuff.
Yeah,
Barnwell tries to avoid doing that in this week's matchup with Woodland. Obviously, some time still left in region play, so there's some stuff that will be decided later, but it will be a little less dramatic if they don't take care of business here. So they're going out and take on a Woodland team that has shown some signs of life in the region and overall this year. So it should be a tough matchup. But
well, with Barnwell, I think everyone in the state that's paying attention to 2A football or that region race, they're keeping an eye on that Bamberg game, and they have been for several weeks now. But there's still business to be taken care of with Woodland.
I'm sure they know that out there, and they'll come in and...
Woodland, a familiar area foe. I mean, we've seen, Barnwell played them in the playoffs a couple years ago. We saw them have a home-and-home with Williston-Elko. We used to see them in the region with Silver Bluff and Barnwell. So, I mean, they're, familiar outfit over there.
Familiar, but going into that one, I'm sure... Even
athletic.
Athletic, and obviously that Barnwell defense has stood tall every time, no matter who they face, athletes, whatever. But going into this one, obviously you look for that strong defense, and Craig Bender, who we have to find a nickname for him, but he's just been great all season.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll be looking to do some more things with that and kind of show off that. I just kind of feel like Barnwell's been going around showing off their new improved offense and steamrolling teams.
So they've just been trying to figure out how to get Craig Pender to go 13 for 15 passing every week, because it's been right about there.
Pretty much very consistent. So they'll try to continue that momentum this week down in Woodland. So, or I should say down in Dorchester, not in Woodland, because it's not the town. But anyway.
We're going to put a map back there behind us.
During the playoffs, we'll need to. So.
Yeah, and we'll put little train cars or something to where everybody's going to go.
Yeah, that would be cool. We might have some people walking, and that'll be the movement that we have.
Yeah.
But moving on down to Class A level, and Region 3, Class A, it's kind of... One team has certainly moved out front.
No, Wagner Sally is clearly in the driver's seat.
Yes.
That was Willie Fox's message to his team after Friday night's win at Ridge Spring Minetta. Think of the stretch that Wagner Sally has been on. When we started this season, we looked at that region as Williston-Elko, Wagner Sally, Ridge Spring Minetta, Blackville Hilda. Those were going to be your 4 tough ones.
Yeah.
In the last 4 weeks, Wagner Sally's beaten all 3 of them, and beat all 3 of them on the road. Yeah. And the War Eagles are sitting there at 4-0 in region play, and they're confident, and they're having to do this week what they've had to do for several weeks so far, which is a thing that you do with a team that hasn't won a lot before, or is breaking down new barriers. Is you get it out of your system over the weekend. Monday, hey, we got to focus. Because this game this week, against a Denmark Olar team that is, better than the region, or better than the record indicates. Yeah. I mean, better than the region record indicates too. But a team that gave them problems last year in a game where there were some really difficult circumstances for Wagner Sally, being without a quarterback at the time, and kind of had to use Trey Davis in a little bit of a single wing type deal that is how they're just crushing people now.
Yeah.
It's a Denmark Olar team that, one of the things they did that got them some points and stopped some momentum in their game against Ridge Spring Minetta a couple weeks ago is, they answer a score with a kickoff return for a touchdown, or they have a pick six, something like that. Willie Fox told me they can't give up any cheap ones this week.
Yeah, obviously Denmark Olar has top 10 wins also, so look out for that. But obviously Wagner's been performing pretty well.
I have no reason to question their focus. The way that they played that North game, the way that they've played their road games, I fully expect that they're going to come out ready to go in that Denmark Olar game.
Gotcha. And moving on, Ridge Spring Minetta, who is coming off the loss.
I fully expect them to come out ready to go too.
Taking on Estill, where it never know what can happen in the Estill game.
Well, and after the fact, a lot of people don't know what happened because it's the curious case of their Max Preps history. But no, as Kenny Lipsy told me, 2 years ago, Ridge Spring Minetta went down there and got upset by an Estill team because they weren't focused. He's using that this week for some positive reinforcement to have the guys in the right frame of mind. There's still a lot at play for them. you're sitting there at 2-2 in the region, and it's obviously not where you want to be, especially after a 2-0 start. Yet you take care of business, you count on something else to happen in another game, and suddenly you're back tied for that number 2 spot.
Yeah. And that would be huge because other teams are kind of vying for a chance to get into that number 2 spot. Willis-Nelco has another big one taking on a Blackville team that is number 6.
Blackville Hilda's on a roll right now.
They're on the roll also themselves.
They're on a roll. They're on a roll after that loss to Wagner Sally. They've played well. I mean the 2-0 win over Ridge Spring Minetta, as much as people have their little cracks about it and was that a forfeit and that kind of thing. I mean, that's a really, really nice win in a big ball game. They're playing good football right now. They are playing with confidence, and talking with Wilson-Elko coach Derek Youngblood earlier, he told me that he sees that team kind of reflecting Coach Crosby's personality over there, his fire and his defensive philosophies. They're seeing that at play, on the field for that Blackville Hilda football team right now. A team that defensively just confuses whoever they're playing because they can line up in any front they want from play to play, and you might get up there banking on them to line up a certain way to stop what they think you're going to be doing, and they completely throw you off. And because it's Blackville Hilda, we know that they're big physical kids that fly to the football.
Definitely, that can be very frustrating for an offense.
Right. And that's what they've done to offenses. They've played so well the past 3 weeks, and they're looking at right now get a win there and try to lock up pretty much that number 2 spot if they can. Willis-Sonelka with a win and Ridge Spring Minetta wins, that's a 3-way tie for the number 2 spot. And not that any of this matters because that's a Barnwell County rivalry, and that is a big game down there.
It is a huge game, one of many big games this week, but that's all of them. So
all 10 of them.
All 10 of them. No real head. Well,
one local game.
Yeah, one head-to-head. So all of our teams in action, but we'll be back right after this break to wrap up the walkthrough.
You can't always be there to protect her down the road. Make sure the tire she's riding on will. With the revolutionary Michelin Premier Tire, even when half-worn, it's still safe, thanks to EverGrip technology. The Michelin Premier Tire, safe when new, safe when worn.
That's all the time we have here for the walkthrough. Not that we're timed.
We're on a strict limit here.
We make this as long as we want, but give feedback if you want it to be longer. Who knows? But that's all we have for you this week. For Kyle Dawson, I'm Eric Russell. We will see you out there on the sidelines at some of the big games this week. Kyle gets to do play-by-play for the game of the week, by the way.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss that.
It's must-see TV. But we'll catch you out there on the sidelines.